The Kriss Vector has been the most debated part of BattleBit Remastered since the days of the weekly playtests. This compact SMG has you either loving it or hating it based on your playstyle. The guys that love this thing praise its ability to mow down rows of enemies with ease, with its super high rate of fire and fast movement. Those that hate the Kriss Vector will claim it's an overpowered crutch that only serves to make up for a lack of skill by those that wield it. Well, today we're going to take a look at the Kriss Vector's recent nerf and see if it's still capable of being respected or feared in the current BattleBit meta. So drop a like on this video and let's get into the Kriss Vector meta. So to understand what's been nerfed, first we need to talk about what made the Kriss Vector great. This small SMG offers its user very quick movement, the fastest rate of fire in the game tied with the Scorpion Evo, decent mid-range accuracy, and to top it all off, either a 40 or 60 round magazine. Combine these all together and you've got a gun that's an absolute king for most engagements within about 70 meters. Throw in BattleBit's decisive aim punch mechanic, that's where you will flinch randomly when you're getting hit, and it's easy to see why the Kriss Vector was the absolute master of close range engagements. Now, if you've been living under a rock for a few days, on Thursday of last week, one of the developers of BattleBit Remastered, Sergeant Okidoki, announced that the Kriss Vector would be receiving a few nerfs in the upcoming update. Now, depending on what side of the fence you sat on, this is either a blessing or a curse. Firstly, the base damage would be taking a slight dip, going from 24 down to 22 base damage. The standard and quick magazines would also have their round capacity reduced from 40 to 36, but the real kicker was going to be the range drop off, which is now starting at 10 meters instead of 50 meters. Now, for those that don't know, range drop off is the damage penalty that each bullet receives depending on how far away your target is. Now, to put that into perspective, the Kriss Vector's damage was a solid 24 per round, unless the target is beyond 50 meters away, in which case the damage started slowly getting weaker, meaning you'll need to land more shots to kill your opponent at further distances. So they've taken this 50 meter buffer range and decided, nah, that's too far. Let's cut that by 80% and take it down to 10 meters. This basically means that the Kriss Vector is going to have a longer time to kill the further away your target is. Now, this is something I've actually been advocating for the past little while, and you'll see it's something I've mentioned in recent videos. My main gripe with the Kriss Vector is it shouldn't be that good at range. The gun already shreds people in close quarters, why should it beam people at medium range too? Well, it seems like my prayers were answered because a range nerf was exactly on the cards for the Kriss Vector, and this is a welcome change in my book. So, you may be all asking, how is the Kriss Vector after the nerf? Honestly, I haven't really noticed a whole lot of change with it. Maybe there's been a couple of gunfights at range that I've lost that I otherwise would have won, but that really doesn't bother me. Up close, however, it's still as powerful as always, and you're still going to be seeing schmoovers operate this beast with lethality. When you're fighting in CQB and using the drum mag, the only nerf you're really going to have to deal with is A, the damage drop off, and B, the slightly weaker base damage. But when you're spraying 1200 rounds per minute, it's going to be difficult for you to notice any change, and you can still spray down cuddle puddles without mercy. Now, I've only played a couple of hours since the update went live, and the amount of people still using the Kriss Vector is simply staggering. Mainly because a good portion of players haven't unlocked the P90 yet, but the Kriss Vector is still going to be a problem for people that don't approve of the schmovement playstyle. So to test out the range difference, I went into the shooting range with the Kriss Vector and did some testing. I'll post those results on screen now. Taking these figures into account, the Kriss Vector is still a 5-shot kill on an unarmored opponent at 50 meters with no other variables taken into account. The main kicker for people is going to be the quick A users, dropping from 40 rounds to 36, and that's probably going to take some getting used to. But once you get the feel for that, the Kriss Vector is still going to absolutely shred people. You can probably claim that the P90 is the new king of all weaponry and that's in need of a good nerfing, but don't be fooled by what you read on paper. The Kriss Vector is absolutely here to stay. I have no problem getting destroyed in CQB by Kriss Vector, that's what it's meant for. I'm just glad to see that when I'm engaging a Kriss Vector at longer ranges, that the ridiculous aim punch isn't going to be a defining factor, and my assault rifle should have the advantage in that engagement. So anyway guys, let me know down in the comments below, have you had a chance to try the Kriss Vector yet? And do you still think it's a viable weapon worth using? I'm only scratching the surface of this update, there's so many other weapons and features I'm yet to explore. Big fan of the bandaging change, by the way. That's a win for everybody in my books. Anyway guys, remember to watch your house, and I'll see you all next time. Take care.